Okay, right, so voicings and inversions. So what is a voicing? If we take a chord, just a simple chord, C major, we can voice that any way we like. So that means moving these three voices around, or sometimes doubling them, or sometimes even missing one of the voicings out, one or more depending on the chord. So for example, we could voice that chord like this, where obviously I've simply just added another C at the top. We could voice it like this. Oh yeah, so that's still just a C major chord. There's nothing else in there. C, E, G, C, E. I could voice it like this and taking out one of the C's there. I've got a C, E, G, E. Still the same thing. So these are all voicings of C. There's another one. C, G, E, and another C. Yeah, could do one without the G. Like, that's still a C major voicing, because a fifth isn't crucial to the function of the chord. That's still C major. Okay. Right, now inversions are just a simple way of thinking about a simple kind of voicing, really. So all it means is that you invert the chord. So that's a C major in root position. If I take this C and put it here, then that's C major, first inversion. I can invert it again by taking this E and putting it up here. That becomes G, C, E. Second inversion. Then if I go back here, I'm back to where I started. Right, so we can do so specifically in relation to, like using this in blues in C. Whatever we're doing on a blues in C, whether we're playing nice basic old-fashioned sort of piano blues riff, or if we're playing a more involved jazz blues with loads of different chords in, that's all still based on these three chords. So we're always either playing or implying or varying or getting towards or something to do with chords 1, 4, 5 in the blues. So if we're in C, that's chord 1, chord F and chord G. All these chords are dominant chords. C7, dominant 7, major third, flat 7, F7, dominant 7, major third, flat 7, and G7, the 5 chord, major third, dominant 7. So you know, even when we're just playing, and obviously we're not using all the notes of the chord there, but we're really implying it, and anything that fits this chord, C7, will fit this. Okay, so inversions of those three basic chords are really useful in blues. So we can take C7, and this is what I recommend people do to get used to it. This is the easiest way to learn them, is if you play the first chord, the root position chord, then take the C, put it up here, but physically do that with your left hand, like that, because then you're showing yourself the chord. You've still got all these notes here, but I'm showing myself. I've moved the C, great, so I can get rid of it down here, and then just adjust my hand. So there I am, got my first inversion. So let's do the same. Take the E, put it there, great, done. Can get rid of it, adjust my fingers. There we go. Take the G. Okay, take the B flat, and I'm back where I started. So it's a really good idea to do that and to practice it. by the time you can do that, you know those inversions really well, you know, but stick to doing this. You know, until it's easy, and do it coming down as well. So invert this back to here. This one. Okay, so if you do that with all the chords, in with all 3 chords, that is, if you do it when you do it in F, it's actually exactly the same shapes, the same physical shapes. When you play it in G, it's a bit different, because obviously we don't have a black note in there. So they kind of look slightly different, they're slightly different shapes. But all the same thing applies. Yeah. And then you can use that, you know, you can, for whatever you want really. You can just, when you're improvising, if people are playing the improv, blues improv in C exercise that I'm always getting people to do, we play these low root notes, C, F and G. You can play the F and G down here as well. Just playing those in a random order and just improvising with your right hand. You can be doing anything with your right hand here. It's a good idea sometimes to limit yourself to something, you know, to say I'm just going to improvise with the blues scale, because then you're really internalizing the blues scale. Like you could say, right, let's just improvise with the blues scale. There's no time feel here, not thinking about beat at all. I can leave loads of space like that. Can do fast things. I've already stopped using the blues scale, sorry. Right, I'm going to stick to using the blues scale here. I'll do that again. So. See, none of these note lengths matter. There's no time involved, and that means that you can relax and get to know whatever concept it is that you're dealing with. So. Obviously I wasn't using the blues scale there, but inversions is one thing that we can use on that. So if you know these inversions really well, or your C7 inversions and your F7 inversions and your G7 inversions, then any of those will work when you're playing the appropriate root notes. And yeah, and when you're playing C, the F ones will kind of work as well. So let's do that. We'll play blues scale and incorporating some inversion of those chords. There we are, there's an inversion of F7. Okay, there's an inversion of the C7 chord there. G7, you know, you can do all these glisses and things with them. That's just, you know, just kind of feel and just messing about. Because obviously these 2 notes don't really mean anything. They're not really relevant. They're just kind of grace notes or ghost notes or glisses. And obviously we can, yeah, well, there's a million things we can use in this exercise. We can use all the blues licks. Those kind of things as well, but yeah, okay, I've digressed quite a lot, but the basic thing about this video was these inversions. Oh, one more thing, yeah, obviously we can use those when we're playing something in time on the blues as well. So when you're playing a 12 bar, like this is really nice. A nice thing to do is just choose inversions that don't move around too much. Like let's play a 12 bar blues using this inversion of C7, and this inversion of F7, simply because it's very close to this. So it'll sound nice when we're moving from one to the other. And then let's just go for a root position G7, because that's still close as well, so that should all sound nice. If I go, and this can be any rhythm that I'm playing here, just whatever you feel like. F7, C7, G7 root position, F7, C7. You can even right, hope that helps everybody. Don't end tunes like that. Okay, cheers.